Welcome to Nepo Press. My name is Frank Sargent. Tonight's video is book formatting from a doc file. We're going to prepare an existing manuscript from Microsoft Word or from LibreOffice or some similar word processor to prepare it in order to use the Nepo Press formatting service to turn it into an eBook or a paperback. First, let me thank Travis Hill for volunteering his manuscript for use in this video. Here's Travis's Amazon author page. Before watching this video, it's probably best if you watch our book formatting from scratch video. That will cover a lot of the basic information, how you upload a file to the formatting service, how you click on the three buttons to make a Mobi file or an EPUB file or a PDF, and so forth. So that's a good video to get oriented to the overall process. That shows you what you would do if you're starting from scratch. You'd use our template and just basically rename it to the name of your book and start typing. But what if you have an existing novel? You've already written it. It's in Word or it's in LibreOffice or something like that. You have a .doc file probably. You have to go through a one-time preparation step to get it ready for formatting. And that's what we're going to cover. We're going to use LibreOffice as the word processor. This is very similar to Microsoft Word, and it's available if you don't have it, if you want to install it. You can go to the LibreOffice.org website and just click the download button. Follow the instructions. It installs on a Mac or installs on Windows. It's very easy to install. So even if you're using Microsoft Word and want to continue using Microsoft Word, it still might be worth installing LibreOffice just so you can follow along with our checklist where we do everything in LibreOffice. Once you've prepared the manuscript, you'll save that from LibreOffice as a doc file, and you can take it back to Microsoft Word if that's your preference. Did I mention that LibreOffice is free? If you already have LibreOffice installed, but it's an older version, it might be worth going to the LibreOffice site and upgrading to the newer version. Here is our checklist of what we need to do. First of all, make a backup of your manuscript. Now, I've already done that. Here's a file browser. We're going to work on the manuscript called chasing3.doc. So I've copied it to the name chasing3-ORIG, short for original, .doc. So always make a backup copy so that if anything goes wrong in the preparation step, you can just throw that one away and start over from your master copy. I've also loaded the Nepo Press template file. When you finish preparing your manuscript, you may find a few things in it that'll be handy to copy and paste into your manuscript. The next step is to open the manuscript in LibreOffice. One way to do it is from your file browser. Click on the file you want to open. Right-click and choose Open with LibreOffice. Another way is if you can open LibreOffice first. For example, I already had LibreOffice open. I could go to the LibreOffice menu, click on File, click on Open, and then pick your manuscript. So for this, I'm going to use the file browser. Right-click, choose Open with, and choose LibreOffice. You can do all these steps in Microsoft Word. You'll just have to translate slightly. So that's why it might be handier to actually install LibreOffice. So let's follow our checklist. We've made the backup. We've opened the manuscript in LibreOffice. The next thing we're going to do is uncheck the Format Autocorrect While Typing setting. So we go up here to the Format menu. Autocorrect, don't click here, just move over to the right, and if while typing had a check mark by it, we'd click here to take the check mark off. Edit, select all. we want to highlight the entire manuscript. Click somewhere here in the middle. Click on Edit. Click on Select All. Now the entire manuscript is selected, highlighted. We're going to do several things to the entire manuscript. While we have it all highlighted, change the font family and size to suit your eyes. Now, for this video, I'm going to change it to Courier New, and I'm going to make it larger. I'm making it larger than you'd probably use for your actual work, just to make it easier to see in this video. I'm going to change it to 22 points. So we've changed the font family and size. By the way, the font family and the font size that you have set here will have no effect on your finished ebooks or PDF and printed book. This is just for your convenience in working with the manuscript. Next, Format, Autocorrect, Autocorrect Options. So we go to Format, Autocorrect, over here to Autocorrect Options. Click on that. We get this window, and we're going to do a number of things. First of all, go to the Options tab right here. Turn off any of these check boxes that are checked. If you have check marks in them, uncheck them. The only things that are okay to leave are these two lines: delete spaces and tabs at the beginning, etc., delete spaces and tabs at end, etc. So you can leave those 4 checked. Now we go to the Localized Options tab right here and turn off everything except the French. I have no opinion on this. If these are checked, uncheck them. Uncheck the Replace. Uncheck Replace. Now everything's off except the French line, and that should suit our purposes just fine. That took care of that, so we click the OK button. Oops. When I clicked on the Firefox window, I selected the Firefox browser window, and in about a second, when I go back and click on the LibreOffice window, it's going to unselect all the text. I didn't notice it at the time. Nevertheless, I'm going to let the video continue here. We'll go through all the steps as if I'd left the full manuscript selected, highlighted. And then I'll pause the video and quietly go back and repeat these steps with the manuscript properly highlighted. Now we'll go to Format Page, Format Page, and we're going to turn off headers and footers. So we'll go to the header. We'll uncheck this. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Now we're going to go to the footer and do the same thing. Uncheck footer on so that it's off. Am I sure? Yes. We're going to apply it. It'll apply it to the whole manuscript, and that took care of the page. Now we're going to do something similar for the paragraph. We'll click Format, Paragraph. We're going to find the Text Flow tab. Click on it. Make sure that the hyphenation automatically box is not checked. If that has a check mark in it, uncheck it. Make sure the Breaks Insert tag checkbox is unchecked. If it has a check mark in it, click on it to uncheck it. This Keep with Next Paragraph should be unchecked. We don't particularly care about the orphan control and widow control. This will have, again, no effect on the finished ebook. That'll be taken care of in the formatting process. You can leave them checked or not checked. Doesn't make any difference. That took care of text flow. Now we'll click on the Indents and Spacing tab. Here, we want to be sure that the first line is set to 0 because we're going to eliminate the first line indentation on all the paragraphs. It's going to be hard to tell where the paragraph breaks occur. So we also want to change this spacing. You can change one or both of these. 6/100 seems to work well in most cases. Because I've set the font extra large, I think we better make this a little larger. Maybe 1/10 of an inch for each. Something like that. Leave this unchecked. Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. If that has a check in it, uncheck it. I'll click OK. We've eliminated the first line indent. We do have some space right there between the two paragraphs. This is not an actual blank line. This is just some space the word processor has added so you can tell where your paragraphs are separated. Next is Format, Styles and Formatting, Default Style. We go over here, click on Format, click on Styles and Formatting. Up comes a list of all the styles. Default style is the one we want. Right-click on this. Click on Modify. We're going to take a look at some of the settings that will apply with the default paragraph style. Basically, we're going to modify the very same things we've already looked at. We're just going to make sure that indents and spacing has a 0 for first line. This is not checked. We need some spacing above and below, or at least one of them. Make sure that's not checked. Okay, that looks good. We'll apply it, which means apply it to the style, I believe. We've already applied it to the existing manuscript. And then text flow. Make sure that's not checked. Make sure that's not checked. That's not checked. Okay, we're in good shape. Click OK. We're through with that. We can click the X, get rid of that window. That takes care of this step. Well, there's one more step. Change the font to your preferred family and size for viewing. So let's do that again. Format, Styles and Formatting. Right-click on Default Style. Click on Modify. Click on Font. And again, this is just your preference, whichever font you'd like to view your manuscript in. I'm going to set it to Courier New. And I'm going to set it to 22 points. Okay, I'll apply that. Again, that will apply it just to the default template for if we do any further modifying of the manuscript. Okay, that takes care of that. Close it. We're done with that step. Now we're through with what we were doing with the entire manuscript highlighted. So we can unhighlight it, unselect it, just by clicking in here somewhere. Okay. Notice there are no more heads or page numbers. We've turned off the heads and feet. Now we're going to use the Find and Replace facility that's built into LibreOffice. Edit, Find and Replace. Now notice we're not choosing just Find. We're choosing Find and Replace. Click on that, up comes a dialog box. I already have something in it that I'm going to erase. It's highlighted, so if I just press the backspace key, it'll disappear. First of all, we're going to change quotation marks. We're going to replace the curly quotes with straight quotes, both the double quotes and the single quotes. So, first of all, it's difficult to type in a curly quote. It'll just appear as a straight quote. It's difficult to see that. Let's see if I can make that larger. I typed in a straight quote. I want to type in a curly quote. Well, that's difficult to do. It's not impossible, but it's difficult to do. We're going to erase that. What we're going to do is we're going to find an existing opening double quote mark in the manuscript. Here's one right here. So we'll highlight this and right-click on it and choose Copy. Then come over here, click in the Search For box, right-click, click Paste. Now we've got the opening double quote mark. Let's make it bigger and see if we can tell that it's curly. Hard to see, but that's the curly one. We're going to find that. We're going to replace it with just a plain double quote mark. So I type this one in from the keyboard. I'm going to open this other options. I don't want any other options. It's got regular expressions checked. I want to uncheck that. It's got bold set here. I don't like that. Click in this box so we can click No Format. Okay, now we're all right. We're no longer looking for bold opening quote marks. We're just looking for any opening quote mark. Let's go to the top of the document. Click there. We're going to work our way down the document from the top to the bottom, searching for the opening curly quote, replacing it with a straight quote. I'll just find a few of them. Find, see, there we go with an opening. There's another one. Click on Find and you go to the next, the next, the next. So we're going to go back to the top, click here. We're going to find and replace all of them, so we can just press this button, Replace All. It replaced it 1,073 times. Now we want the matching ending quotes. So again, we'll find one of them. Here we go with some dialogue, so this will work. Highlight the ending quote mark we want to search for. Again, this is a curly quote, so it's difficult to type in directly, so we highlight it, right-click on it, choose Copy. Come over here to the Search For box, double-click to highlight that one, because we're going to replace it. Right-click and click Paste, and now we have our ending curly quote mark. We're going to replace it with the same straight quote mark. So let's don't even bother. We could find a few if we wanted to. But instead, let's just go to the top and work our way down and click Replace All. Found 1,051 times. Sounds reasonable. Then we're going to look for the single curly quotes. They may be harder to find, but let's see. We're going to do it the same way. Here we go. This is used as an apostrophe, but it's still the ending single quote mark. So I highlight it, copy it, come over here and highlight that and right-click and paste. That's what we're searching for. We're going to replace it with the straight apostrophe. So you type this with the keyboard. They look the same at that size, but if we make it larger, maybe you can see that this one curls and this one does not. I believe it's safe to replace all of those, so let's just go ahead and replace all. 1,638 times. All right, that sounds good. Now, we've got a slightly trickier situation. We want to find the opening single curly quote. Well, a quick way to find one of those is to search for a plain straight quote, because we replaced the ending quotes with a straight quote. So I'm going to search for a straight quote till we find some inner dialogue or a quoted word. I hope this would be a fast way to find an inner quotation. Well, this doesn't seem to be going so fast. It might have been better just to eyeball it. Here we go. Okay. By finding the ending, it let us find where a matching beginning quote was. So we're going to highlight this just like we did before. Right-click on it. Choose Copy. Come over here to the search box. Double-click or triple-click or 100 times, whatever it takes to finally get the... Oh, it is highlighted. I just couldn't see it. Right-click, paste. So that's the opening quote mark. We're going to replace it not with a regular apostrophe, but with a back tick. This is on your keyboard. It's usually on the same key the tilde is on. So type in a back tick. Notice that it's not a straight quote. I mean, it's not the curly quote. It's a back tick. That's what we want to replace it with. Now I've looked through this manuscript, and it looks like there are several places where there's a quote that curls in the wrong direction. And so if we simply replace them all, we're going to replace 2 or 3 or 4 places that really should have had a closing single quote mark. But this will cement it in place as an opening single quote mark. I'm going to do that anyway. In one fell swoop, I'm going to replace them all, click on Replace All, and there we go. There are only 13 of them, so maybe we can search each of them to see if there are any problems. Again, we replaced it with we can't search for this. It shouldn't find any because we've replaced them. Let's try it. Let's find. Didn't find any. Let's continue at the beginning. Search key not found. So, of course, we don't find any of those because we just replaced them with the back tick. So let's highlight that and type in a back tick. Let's search for those 13 back ticks and see if we find any that should have been in the other direction. So let's find the first. That looks good. See, that's an opening single quote with a matching closing single quote. This is a problem. See, this should be an apostrophe, should not be an opening single quote. So just type an apostrophe. Oops. Let's highlight just the thing we want to replace, or use a backspace key or whatever, and type the straight apostrophe. Okay, let's find the next one. Goths. Now, I don't understand if this was intended to have the entire word in single quotes or not. I'm not sure. But if this was your manuscript, you would know what to do. So I'm going to just make an assumption that this was typed in accidentally. And I could well be wrong, and the author would then go back and find this and put in what he actually intended. Well, let's erase that. Let's find the next. That's good because it's a inner quotation, so that's no problem. That's what we want. Same for that. Again, no problem. Again, no problem. That's okay. That's okay. Again, this should have been an apostrophe and not a backtick, so I'll erase that and type in an apostrophe. Humor looks good. Story is okay. Trash pile looks right. So we've gone to the end of the manuscript, so we're okay. So I don't want to go back. Okay, we've taken care of all the... Basically, we've straightened out the curly quotes, both the double quotes and the single quotes. Not all of that had to be done, but I like to do it because sometimes it's handy to search in your manuscript for a quotation mark. You're hunting for something that's got a quote in it, a single or double quote, and it's difficult to type that in from the keyboard if you're searching. So now that they're all straight, you can search either for the backtick or the apostrophe or the double quote mark, and it's easier to search that way. Plus, in the formatting process, it requires a backtick to have the properly curling single quote mark in a quotation. If you have an inner quotation within dialogue that uses the single quote marks, to get them to curl in the correct direction, you need to use a backtick for the opening mark and an apostrophe for the ending mark. So for those reasons, even though changing the double quote marks was not absolutely essential, we went ahead and did it anyway. So here we are, quotation marks. We've replaced the curly double quotes with straight double quotes, the opening single quotes with backticks, the closing single quotes with straight apostrophes. Now we're ready to go to the asterisks. We deal with the asterisks next because in the step after that, we're going to mark italics with asterisks. So first we want to find out if there are any asterisks in the manuscript that we want to keep. So let's search for that. We will, again, double-click there, highlight that so we can replace it, or just type the backspace key to replace it. Type in an asterisk. Let's go to the top of the document, and we'll work our way down, and we'll get an idea of what asterisks might already be present, and then decide what to do with them. Click on Find. This asterisk appears to be a scene break, so we'll remember that. Let's see what else we have. We have several asterisks. Again, it looks like a scene break. Click again. Well, of course, we're going to find those. Another set of asterisks. Good, scene break. And so on. So it looks like we could go all the way through to be extra careful, but let's just assume that the only use of these asterisks is for scene breaks. So now we're going to use the find and replace. We're going to search for an asterisk, and we're going to replace it with a scene tag, followed by a space, followed by an asterisk, because clearly the author intended the scene breaks to be marked by an asterisk. You don't need the asterisk for the scene tag. You could just leave that off, and that would still make a scene break in your manuscript. But if you do add something like one or more asterisks or a pound sign or something of that sort, then that's the marker that will appear between scenes. So we're going to find the asterisk and replace it with a scene tag followed by a space followed by an asterisk. And we're going to work through this. We're not just going to replace all. If we replace all, I'll show you what would happen but when we get to it. Let's find the first occurrence. All right, that wasn't at the top of the document. Let's find the first occurrence. Click on Find. Here we go. This will work. It's a single asterisk. We'll click Replace, and there we go. You can't see it because it immediately searched for the next asterisk. So let's go back and let's search for that again, just so you can see how it replaced it. You see, it replaced the asterisk with a scene tag, a space, and an asterisk. The scene tag has to be at the left margin, but this actually is at the left margin because I'm going to use the left arrow key. I'll go left, left, and there is no more left. If I press the left arrow again, it goes to the line above. That's because this was centered, and you can tell that if you click here in that, and you look up here, you see that the center button is what's highlighted. So that really is at the left margin. You could turn off the centering for that line. It doesn't make any difference. All right, we found this asterisk. Let's keep searching. Now here's a set of asterisks. I'm going to replace the first one with a scene tag. Click Replace. Now I don't want to replace this one with a scene tag, or we'll have a whole bunch of scene tags and you'll have a very funny looking scene break. So I'm just going to skip over those by clicking the Find button until we get to another asterisk that needs replacing. Okay, we'll replace that one. And I'm going to go through this fairly quickly now, and we'll just get to the end of the document. And we're at the end of the document. Do I want to continue at the top? No. That's this step. Deal with the asterisks. Now we're ready for the italics step. Here's what we should be able to do to search for italics. With an empty search for box, click on Format. Click on Typeface Italic, like that. Then click on OK. And that should let you search for italics. It does work that way on LibreOffice for Windows. Unfortunately, and I think it's a bug in the Mac version of LibreOffice, it doesn't work exactly that way here. Let's try it. Click on Find, and it did find something, but it's not what we wanted. It found everything prior to the italicized word. So that's not going to work for us. It works fine on the Windows version, but it's not going to work for us on the Mac version. Again, now it found everything after the italicized word. So here's what we do on a Mac in LibreOffice to work around that problem. Again, we'll go to the top. Okay, notice that the No Format button is, remember we'd set a format here. Click on No Format to get rid of it. All right. Now, instead of using that, don't use that to find italics. Click on Attributes instead and click on Font Posture. Well, an italicized letter is a letter that has a leaning posture, so I guess that's the reasoning here. So clicking on that and then click OK. Now, if we search for it, we'll find the italicized word just like we want. Now, there's a problem in this particular manuscript. I don't know if you'll run into it in every manuscript. Some of the phrases have a little too much marked as italics. See, this is italics from and all the way through, not just through the question mark, but through a space that follows the question mark. And that occurs a number of times, a number of paragraphs later in the manuscript, that we would, if we only search for italics, we would be including a space that we do not want. Because when we mark italics, we're going to put the italics, the asterisk, tight against the word or phrase. We don't want it to be after a space. So we're going to take advantage of a very useful feature in LibreOffice, and that's the ability to search for patterns. So again, let's go up to the top. Click there to position the cursor at the top of the document. When you search for a pattern, you have to check this regular expressions box, because the pattern is technically called a regular expression. The particular regular expression we're going to type in is given here. The search pattern /B, and you don't even have to understand this. You just type it in. That's a backslash, B. That stands for a word boundary. We're going to search for a word boundary. Then we're going to type a dot, a period. A period stands for any character. An asterisk following it says any character repeated 0 or more times. Then we're going to type in a capital S. Note the B is a lowercase b, the S is a capital S. The capital S means look for a non-space character, some character that is not white space. And that happens to work very nicely for finding the italicized word or phrase that we want. Let's find a few of these just to see. See, it got thing highlighted just fine. Several of those. And we're looking for that phrase that was not... There we go. Remember before, we found a little too much. We also found an ending space that we don't want. And this will be useful, as I say, later in the manuscript. There are a bunch of places like that. So now that we know generally that our search string, our regular expression, remember this has to be checked, is finding what we want. What do we replace it with? Well, we want to put asterisks around the italicized word or phrase. So I type an asterisk. Now, we don't want to delete the word or phrase we found, so we type a $sign followed by a 0, which stands for whatever this pattern found. And then we want an ending asterisk after it, so that's what we replace it with. And that's right here in this preparedoc.html that you can find on our website. That's the search pattern we type in: a \B, a period, an asterisk, a capital S. And this is the replace pattern: an asterisk, $sign 0, and an asterisk. Remember, we want to add the asterisk, but we don't want to lose what was in the middle. And the $sign 0 gets us whatever this pattern found. That looks good. Let's just replace them all in one fell swoop. Found it 214 times. Of course, you could have eyeballed the manuscript. You could have just looked through it till you found something that was in italics, and you could have typed in asterisks around it. That would have been fine. It just would have taken a long time. And it would be, I find that stressful, because I keep wondering, well, did I miss one? Did I miss one? I have to look carefully, and that's tedious. So it's handier if you can search for it. If you were using a word processor and you just didn't want to install LibreOffice for this purpose, if you're using a word processor that did not let you search by patterns, well, it might be more difficult. That took care of our italics. We're going to do something similar for bold. However, we're going to research the bold first. Let's, it so happens we're going to use the very same search string for bold, but we're going to turn off the formatting, no format. We're going to go in, and that took care of unchecking the font posture button. We're going to click the format button and click bold. See, this will work for bold on the Mac, and it should have worked for italic on the Mac. But we had to use that workaround on the Mac. If you were doing this on a Windows machine in LibreOffice version 4 point whatever, this would have worked to search for italic, and would have worked, and of course also works for searching for bold. So that's what we want. We click bold, we click OK. We're going to search for bold that matches that pattern. Well, we don't have much bold in this particular manuscript, so we could have even left that whole thing blank, but this will work. We're just going to search now. Let's search. Let's position the cursor up here at the top. We're going to find it. Now that is a bold phrase that is actually the title page. And we treat title pages basically like a chapter. So we're going to want to mark that as a chapter rather than marking it as bold. Let's see what else we have. We have another line that is in bold, but it doesn't make any difference if that's in bold. And the copyright doesn't have to be in bold. We'll just ignore those. What else do we have? Here we have, I missed the one before. This is a chapter title. The chapters in this manuscript have no names. They're just named by Roman numerals. Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. So it looks like these chapter titles are in bold. Now that turns out to be very handy, because we're going to have to mark the chapter titles in this next step. So we're going to catch them at the same time while we search for bold. We're going to replace the appropriate ones by marking them as chapters. Now, if we had legitimate bold, let's say an emphasized word in a paragraph that should have been bolded, then we do something very much like we did for the italics. We would use the same search pattern, but the replace pattern would have an extra asterisk on each end because you mark bold words or phrases with pairs of asterisks. for replacing a chapter title, we're going to use a slightly different pattern. A chapter is marked with an asterisk at the left margin, followed by a space, and we want to replace whatever had been there. We want to leave it. We don't want to erase it, so we use the same $0. So this says, because we have the format set to bold, because we have regular expressions checked, because we have this pattern that finds a word or phrase that starts at a word boundary, has any number of characters, but ends with a non-white space character. All this does is inserts an asterisk and a space before whatever was found. So let's go to the top of the document, and we'll work our way down it. Click here. And the first one it's going to find is right where the cursor is. Find, see it highlighted it. Yes, since that is effectively a chapter title, it's the title page, we're going to click Replace. And there we go. It added the asterisk and the space. So we'll find the next occurrence. Well, it already did. The author name, but that's not a chapter title, so we're not going to replace. We're just going to skip it. If we really wanted it in bold, we could come back to it later and put in pairs of double asterisks. We'll click Find. We don't want that one. Click Find again. Yes, it's down here, but that's the one we want. This is the first chapter. So yes, replace that. Replace it there. 3, 4, 5. We just work our way through the manuscript till we get them all. We're getting close. Epilogue's a chapter. Author's notes are treated as a chapter. Acknowledgments is treated as a chapter. Extras is treated as a chapter. The bonus short story we're treating it as a chapter. And that took care of it. We went all the way through, so we're through with that. So we took care of finding in the bold and marking the chapter titles all basically at the same time. If you'd had a lot of bold, you could have, that really should have stayed bold. As I say, you'd perhaps go through twice. Now, if we had not been lucky, we were lucky here because all the chapter titles were in bold, so it made it really easy to find the chapters. If the chapters titles had not been in bold, you might have to eyeball it. On the other hand, if you started every chapter title with the word chapter, you could have used a search for chapter. As long as you can do some searching, especially if you can do some automatic searching and replacing, this preparation step can actually go very fast. That took care of the basic conversion. That's really all there is to it for the first broad approach to fixing everything that we wanted to fix in it. So now we're ready to save it. Let's click on File, Save. And you might take a look there and make sure it's the one you want to save it under. Chasing3.doc. That works. So click File, click Save. And the manuscript is now basically ready to format. Now, we're going to improve some things. We're going to fix up the title page, we're going to fix up the copyright page, and we're going to do that by opening the template file and copying some things out of it and pasting them into the beginning area of the manuscript. But I wouldn't even do that yet. Once you get to this stage, go ahead and format it as an ebook. Go ahead and upload it and click the format buttons and see what you get. We're going to get a reasonably encouraging ebook and HTML file, and if you want to, even a PDF file out of it. We'll have some other things to do, but this will be a good start. So to do that, just follow the steps in the video, Book Formatting from Scratch. It goes through the steps of how you save out the file and how you upload it to your book account on Nepo Press, and how you format it, and how you can download the resulting ebooks in HTML and PDF and so forth. So let's just go through the save as step. We've saved it as chasing3.doc. Now at this point, you can take if you prefer Word, and you did this in LibreOffice just to make it easy to follow these steps, at this point you can close down LibreOffice, open up Word, open your manuscript, and you're ready to go. Assuming you're staying in, we're through with the find and replace, so I'll close that. Assuming you're staying in LibreOffice, click File. We're going to save a copy. And we've got to name it. Well, it has to match the name that your book account is expecting. When you sign up for a book account, there'll be your manuscript name that will be something like, in this case, it'd be chasing3.txt, TXT. So regardless of what you called your manuscript as a doc file, what you save it as has to be exactly, in this example, chasing3.txt. So click on, don't save it as a doc file, click here and choose text, the .text version of a text file. And because I have that checked, it plugs in the .text automatically. That's what we want, chasing3.txt. We'll just click the Save button. That's the file you'll upload to Nepo Press and format. If your word processor does not have a Save a Copy, you may have to click on Save As. And that's okay, that'll work. Click Save As. Chasing3 instead of .doc, once again, choose the text format. Now, some word processors may call that plain text. They may have different names for it, but it'll have a .text extension. If your word processor gives you a choice of the encoding you want to select is UTF-8. Now, in LibreOffice, that's the default, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's what I'll pick. Chasing3.txt. So far, it's very much like what we just did with the Save a Copy step. Now, I'm about to click Save. Before I do that, take a look up here at the name of the file we've been working with, chasing3.doc. Now I'm going to save, I'm saving it as, I click the Save button. It warns me that the file exists. Do I want to replace it? Yes. Now take a look up here and look at the file name. We're now editing the text file, chasing3.txt. So if you're doing this and you want to stay in your doc file for your work, as soon as you have done that, close this down. Because otherwise you might forget and start editing here. You don't want to, if this is your derivative file, the Save As version, you don't want to edit it. You want to go back to your doc file version. So you open that again, chasing3.doc. Well, that's why it's very handy in LibreOffice to have this file Save a Copy. Then you don't have to go through that. But so my advice is if you have to use Save As, that's fine. But as soon as you've saved as a text file, close down that particular document, just so you won't think you're editing the doc file version while you're really editing the .text version. That concludes the video. Again, you should see the earlier video, the book formatting from scratch first. Then watch this video you've just seen. If you're doing it out of order, that's okay. Watch them again. Try it out. Format your book. See what you get. Now, then you're going to follow some information in that earlier video, how to set up the title page, how to set up the copyright page, and so forth. Well, thank you for watching. Again, thanks to Travis Hill for loaning his manuscript for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to go to nepotism.net/formatting and browse around, or to email me, frank@nepotism.net.